Here's a story about how I lost half of all the blood in my body and still survived. It's pretty dramatic. Story time. I think this story, in my opinion, is about how the right mindset could maybe save your life. I think it may have saved mine. Now, one of the things that allows me to deal with all the weird things I've been through is having a dark sense of humor. Here's the story. I've had a surgery where part of my GI tract was reconstructed. And so I went back to the NIH, which is where it happened, and they did an endoscopy, which is a tube down your mouth. They saw a little bump, they cut it out, closed it up, and not a big deal. Everything was fine. They sent me home. 9 days later, I'm now in a different country, and it's a good friend's sibling was getting married, so we were dancing a ton. Then we went somewhere else, and we had a bunch of drinks, and it was a great old time. And in the morning, I was sort of loafing around, and there was a bunch of watermelon. I ate a ton of watermelon, and I just went back to sleep. I don't know how much later, I woke up feeling super nauseous. And that happens to me. Something was weird about it. It was like something was off. And luckily, my sister saw me. And so I ran to the bathroom, and I start to throw up, and it's all red because it's watermelon. And my sister runs and gets my mom. And as I'm throwing up, I realize that I didn't have this much watermelon. And the watermelon wasn't this dark. And I realize I am now puking up blood. A lot of it. And my mother and my sister are standing sort of over me. And they're arguing as to whether it's watermelon or blood. And I'm trying not to laugh because I'm puking up blood. And they're both kind of right. There's something just absurd about the whole situation. And I think to myself, if I panic, I think I'll have a heart attack. Because I'm going to keep bleeding until the pressure's low enough for this thing to stop itself. I just try and stay calm. Anyways, eventually I stop throwing up blood and have to be carried away to the car. And my poor baby sister remembers that I was smiling with blood coming down my face, like some terrifying Joker Batman movie thing. And they took me to the ER, and they found that my blood pressure had dropped to basically half what it should be. Then eventually I had to have 4 different blood infusions, and it was a whole thing. Eventually I got back to my very qualified doctors, and they said it's a rare thing. Sometimes the little clot pops open, and sometimes, unfortunately, that can be over a little blood vessel, and then physics takes hold, and it will keep going until the pressure is low enough for it to start closing itself back up again. And we think you lost about 50% of your blood. And usually death happens at about 40%. I am not 100% sure, but I do think that staying calm really, really may have kept me alive. And in fact, I managed to stay somewhat conscious after that point. So, yeah, I never expected that, working on my mindset and stuff and getting all these psychological tools would yield such important results. But yeah, that was a unique life experience and one of the close calls of many, unfortunately. But yeah.